Hello everyone, I'm Tess Howe from Tess Ventures. I'm a founder of Tess Venture. We are a Silicon Valley-based venture capital firm and been investing in Web2 companies and Web3 companies for the longest time, over the last 9 years. I'm super excited to be moderating today for such an amazing panelist of amazing women who have been helping shape and lead the future of Web3. I'm super honored to also introduce all the different backgrounds here. A little bit about myself. I am a serial entrepreneur that started my companies when I was in university. Later, I did a lot of angel investing and then realized that I wanted some formal training. So I moved to the Silicon Valley, spent some time at Stanford, and learned how to pick the best teams, the best startups to invest, and also how to help them. And I'm super excited because obviously you're going to meet, some of my portfolio companies here too. And I want to make sure I focus on continuing to invest in female founders, female, related teams, and other Web3 token and equity-based value proposition companies. So with that said, I'm going to introduce Wengie from Nyan, and then we have also Justine from Lootex, and of course we have Jen watching. So we will, from Watching Space, we will start off with talking about the views from these women who are in leadership roles of their own companies and how they have viewed what is happening and shaping in Web3. And we'll all take turns sharing. Of course, if anyone really has any questions, maybe if we have time, we can hold that off till the end. But otherwise, I think everyone here has prepared a lot of different content to share with everyone. So I also wanted to thank IBC for inviting all of us and organizing such an amazing conference where we can interact with everyone here. And a special shout out to Brian Liu, who has went out of his way to make sure all of us have come here from different parts of the world and make this such a great and productive and learning and fun experience. And of course, all the IBS and IBC team members that worked so hard. So with that said, I'm going to let Wengie share first from Nyan. She's co-founder. A little bit more about her background. However, I do want to make a small intro about her first, and then she can share more. So Wendy Huang, also known as Wengie, has 12 years experience in digital marketing and building communities, and is most well known for being a YouTuber and music artist. She has over 20 million subscribers across platforms and is now excited as she is a co-founder of Nyan, which is also, I'm proud to say, Tess Venture has invested, and she's part of Tess Venture's portfolio company amongst about another 70 other Web3 companies. And she has basically a AAA quality third-person shooter battle royale game, and that's what Nyan is, featuring cute cats piloting deadly robots. They have currently raised 3 rounds of funding, and IBC and Tess Venture, of course, are investors in this amazing team and amazing company. She leads, and I'll just let Wengie share first with her own words. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. Wengie, or Wendy is my name. So I started off my career, just a little bit of a backstory of how I got here, because a lot of people are always very surprised. Why are you in Web3? Why are you building a game? It's very confusing. So just to give you a bit of background, I was born in China, went to Australia when I was 4 years old. So I grew up in Australia, so I would say I'm pretty Australian. And then from there, I, had Asian parents, so did the studying very hard at school thing. Ended up being an accountant for 4 years. qualifying for my CPA, but I would say that was more of my mom's dream and not my dream. I was always very creative. So at around like 23, 24, I had a quarter life crisis, I guess you could say, and quit accounting to get into social media. And social media at the time, this was like 2007, 2008, no one knew what to do with social media. It was at the very, very beginning. Everyone's like, I think we can use Facebook and YouTube to do marketing, but no one was really sure and no one had really done it before. So I kind of just ended up in a job in a social media department of a digital search agency. So if you guys are familiar with marketing, it's like SEO agency. So really learned the ropes of SEO, digital marketing, and kind of built up a social media department from there. And part of that involved, basically it was just reading a book. So when I started the job, my boss was like, okay, we have a client paying $1 million a year. They're very important to us. They want to do social media. Here's a book about social media. Have fun. So I was very used to trying to figure out things from absolutely no resources, no path, no nothing. I just read the book and did a lot of testing. So I started my own little blog on the side and tested a whole bunch of things to really, really learn, because there was no other way to learn back then. And ended up heading that department for 2 years. I had multiple clients. I learned everything from pitching, getting clients and sales to actually doing the work and creating content, all while running my own side blog about fashion, beauty, and my own thing. Then ended up heading up a B2B startup. We're building a community of entrepreneurs and business owners for Australia, similar to LinkedIn. Was the head of digital marketing there, did multiple strategies to build up the community, ended up with 3,000 entrepreneurs and business owners on a $0 budget. So I guess my strong point is doing everything with no money because I could, and then the boss didn't want to pay for anything when he figured out I could do it for free. So from there, really gave that up to chase my dream of being a content creator, because my dream was to be my own boss. I didn't want to work in an office anymore. I was not a morning person. I hated getting up in the mornings. My main driver is I wanted to play games all day and wake up at 2 p.m. And I was like, how do I do that? So I decided to quit my job and chase my dream of YouTube. Earning no money in the very beginning. I started YouTube in 2003. So it was still quite, 2013. Still quite early on. No one really knew you could make a lot of money from YouTube, and just kind of figured my way out from there. Focus on content creation. Built that for 2 years, and then my co-founder of Nyan, Max, joined in my YouTube company, and we kind of grew that, and we were the 5th fastest growing YouTube channel in the world in 2016 August, beating everyone under the sun, big music artists and everything. So that was a crazy achievement. We were gaining about 1 million subscribers per month at that time, and back then, quite early on, it was actually a very big number. I think everyone gained subscribers very quickly back, like right now. And then from there, what we did was, I think where our unique point is, we like to understand community, see what they really, really want, read every single comment, really understand what people wanted, and also tie that in with an emerging trend or something that was really happening. So that's what we did with our content that I think really made the difference from our channel. Back then, life hacks were trending. Everyone wanted to learn about life hacks. But the content was very bad, very low quality, bad lighting, no real branding or anything like that. So we kind of took the emerging trend, branded it in the Wengie colors, which is very colorful, fun, happy, and then we created content like that, and then the audience just voted for it. The views took off, and we knew we were onto something. So that's what we were really good at, identifying opportunities like that. So for my crypto journey, I started investing in crypto in 2016. Really, really bullish on blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Saw the technology, saw it would change the world. And then last year, around August, September, Axie Infinity was gaining a lot of traction. And again, that opportunity came of, okay, there's this play-to-earn space really emerging. Crypto, Web3 technology is, in my opinion, going to change the future of gaming and how it's played, especially giving ownership to the players rather than the studio. And there was an opportunity to create really great quality games. The games out there have been making great strides, but we think that we need to create a title that is worthy of being a game that everyone wants to play, not just because it's on Web3, but because it's just a really, really good game. So I've been playing games since 5, hardcore PC gamer, Counter-Strike, Warcraft 3, Dota, League of Legends. I've played everything, so for me it's again, making a great title, bringing in the community, giving them what they want, and 9 Heroes was created, so very proud of where we are, and I'll speak a little bit more about the project a bit later, but yeah, that's kind of my story and how I came to be here. And really great to have you guys here. I'm very excited to share more with you guys.
Thank you, Wengie. Now next, we have Justine Liu, co-founder and CEO of Lootex. Justine is a well-experienced marketer with undying passion for gaming. She co-founded Lootex in 2018, a gamer-first NFT marketplace, to make a difference in the gaming industry with the blockchain technology. Now we'll hand it off to Justine.
Thanks, Tess. Hi, everyone. I'm Justine from Lootex. I have 10-year working experiences in game industry. I work for game publishers and also developers companies. I worked in Blizzard's publisher. I like World of Warcraft, Diablo 3, StarCraft 2 was the products I was responsible for marketing and distributing in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. And after that, I went to a mobile game company, and then afterwards, I went to a VR game company. One of my biggest projects I was responsible for was to open up a VR arcade store in Ikebukuro in Tokyo. And it was fun working with Japanese big game companies. And at the end of 2017, I happened to know CryptoKitties and got to know more about NFTs. So because of my previous working experiences, I learned a lot of insights from gamers. So I always know there's a strong need for gamers to exchange their game items. So that's why I co-founded Lootex in 2018. And I want to build a game-focused marketplace for game lovers. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Justine. Now we have Jen from Blockchain Space, and she has, I'm gonna let Jen go ahead and speak about herself first, and I'll add in some comments.
Sure, so thank you for having us. Great stories, Justine and Wengie. So for me, I started actually I'm from TradFi. So, but before I went into TradFi, I've known our founder for almost 7 years. We started an e-commerce company, and then unfortunately, and at that time, not a lot of e-commerce company penetrated the Philippines. So Lazada and all those Shopee haven't even started their own local operations. Unfortunately, we learned a hard lesson that if you don't have enough funding, even if you have a great idea, doesn't make any sense, right? So we had to close down that company after a year. And then I was really good at finance, so interned at ADB, Asian Development Bank, and then went into investment banking. But those connections that and the friendship that I've built with the founders at that point in time was we had every year we had that get together, and our founder created the company. We started as an event place in the Philippines, wherein we invited crypto projects who wanted to understand more the Philippine market. That's where we met, even way back at 2018 when Axie Infinity was just starting out. Jiho visited the Philippines together with Gabby, one of the founders of YGG. And we saw that it's really, we saw the potential, but never really understood the space. And every year, whenever I had a catch-up session with our founder, we were good friends, with 3 of us who was part of this previous company. He always talks about blockchain and crypto and how it will be revolutionary. Me being an investment banker said, that's not gonna work. That's, traditional finance is here to stay. Nothing, those are just scams. And I just, sometimes, and that was during the bear market. And as a joke, sometimes we would tell Peter King, our founder, said, no, we'll treat the food, we'll pay for the dinner because it's bear market. I'm an investment banker, it's fine, I have good money. I close a lot of transactions, do a lot of M&A, predominantly in the Philippines. So I said, it's fine. And then last year, he said, Jen, I might need your expertise in terms of raising capital and talking to these investors. And he said, can you help me on the side? And I decided, okay, you're good. I cannot leave the company at that point in time. And he said, just test it out. I'll teach you basically a lot of, I'll transfer most of the knowledge that I know about crypto, blockchain, and then play to earn. I've heard about it because some of my previous clients in investment banking, they've been asked to invest in some of the guilds way back. And I've been dismissing the idea. And then over time, I said, okay, I'll help you as a friend, raise some money. We raised seed, strategic round, and then we conducted our IDO. IVC was one of our lead investors together with Animoca and Spartan. We raised a total of $20 million. In 3 different rounds. We conducted our IDO last December 8th. We started with a team of when I joined, we were only about 5 or 6, and then we have 3 part-timers. And then we're now at around 52, and we are now present in about 30 countries. So we're the leading data aggregator for guilds, 24,000 guilds, 2 million players. And I started this, what you call Guild Partner Program. So the Guild Partner Program is an exclusive membership program wherein we provide the full suite of services that the guilds would need. We have about 784 now, started that this year, in 30 countries, and it's a snapshot of the guild ecosystem. We have micro, just to explain the jargon, sorry if I'm speaking a lot of the things that maybe not a lot of people are familiar with. So we segmented the market in 3, guild ecosystem in 3, based on their size. Micro, which is like 10 to 100 scholars. 101 to 1,000 is a mid-sized guild, and 1,000 and above is what we call macro guild. The reason for those segmentation, not just from the numbers point of view, is also from the point of view of the pain points that they encounter as they scale. So what we're doing is trying to understand what are the tools, and also at the same time, what are the things that they would need to help manage their own communities and their treasury. So there are 2 main, so I'm going through the details now, so please stop me. So basically that's my journey. Very, very happy to be here. I lead the corporate strategy and growth of the company. And
Jen is known as the queen of the guilds. So she's pretty amazing. And again, I'm super impressed that she leads corporate strategy and growth for blockchain space. And they're the largest guild aggregator, just to repeat and emphasize, with 20,000 guilds representing 2 million players. That's pretty impressive. And to have such strong leadership, women leadership roles, setting an example in the industry, in emerging markets, in Taiwan and global stage, and with Wengie, background in Australia, and now based out of LA, with her co-founder who's in Singapore. I myself am in Silicon Valley, born and raised in Canada, and family from Hong Kong. So I think we have a good coverage globally here. So that's why I think if anyone wants to know more, or join some of these amazing teams, or start a company in Web3, hopefully help us move the needle a little bit, you can feel free to definitely reach out to any of us to help with advising or insights or just our own experience. And that's why I think these panels are quite crucial for that. Having said that, I think that could lead us into the next question. I'm very interested in understanding if any of the panelists here have female advisors, or are you guys helping advise any other companies, teams, to help kind of shape and guide and encourage other women to really give back, because we all know that building a company already consumes all of our time with significant sacrifices. I mean, to be very honest, today we sit here and it looks like, wow, this is pretty shiny. All these are founders or venture capitalists, But I must say, on behalf of everyone here and all of you guys and ladies out there, every founder, every entrepreneur, or every team member in startup is making a lot of sacrifices. It's 24/7. You never really separate work and your personal life. As you all know, when we're even hanging out with friends, we're figuring out, can I recruit them? Can they help on sweat equity? Can they invest? Do they know an angel investor? And we all identify with that. So how do we all, men or women, encourage more females, like female engineers, female, business, finance, and just help encourage them into Web3 space, especially in this time where the sentiment of the market is frowning on it. And there's been very good characters in this blockchain space, and unfortunately, very bad characters that has set us back. But I think this is the time that all of us should work even harder and really, bond together, and for all of us to still be here at this conference, and for us to all fly from different parts of the world, leaving our family behind and friends. I think, we all should, really say we care about this industry and we want to help move it forward. So hopefully we all continue encouraging all our other friends, peers, family members to do more, and explain to them why it is a real sector, that actually a real technology that we all need to embrace and learn and understand. So with that said, I'm gonna have Wengie speak a bit about whether she has any female advisors and what she thinks and the rest of the panelists think as qualities that advisors should have, or if you've advised any teams, and help encourage them.
All right, so I do say I have a female investor right here, part of the family. So very proud to have Tess Ventures, investor portfolio. I would say being in the gaming space, I don't have any female advisors. That's just the reality of the gaming space when I entered as well. I think it's really important to have more female advisors, because I think a good part of advisory is just to have all angles covered, right? It's not just about who is the best, but it's like, can you see from all sides and make sure all risks are taken care of? For myself, I advise multiple companies in Web3. I advise a wellness NFT platform called Wellverse, Umi, which is a Japanese-based platform that's going to take care of publishing Web2 games into Web3, as well as Drop, which is a location AR-based VR NFT platform where eventually it'll be like Pokemon Go, but you can collect NFTs in-game, and they're doing a good Drop with Bella Hadid at the moment, which will be launched super soon. So I advise these projects mainly in the marketing community side. I think it's very important to have more female advisors, first of all, in Web3, because we give a very different perspective. There are many, male advisors with lots of development, tech experience, but I think at the end of the day, if we're gonna win in Web3 and make Web3 kind of commercial and mass market, you just have to look after the people. It's emotional, it's about feelings, it's about the real product, like what is the experience. I think there's many great minds and very, very intelligent people in Web3, and that's why I love being in the space, bringing in a different perspective. I learn from people on the other side, that are more logical thinking, analytical, and can really break down those numbers, and I admire and respect them for that. But I think more has to be done, to respect and admire the other side of the equation, which may be more emotional. And I think, not to stereotype, there are many men that are really great on the emotional EQ side and everything like that. But I think, the nurturing side of the females, it just naturally comes to us, And, I think that's important to see that it can add value to projects as well. So yeah, for me, what I help with my projects is their marketing, their strategy, how to get to the consumer, really understand the community. Past just data, I think with data analytics, A/B testing, and all that kind of stuff, it's very prescriptive. It's very easy to learn. But a lot of the best products are made emotionally with the product in mind. If you look at Apple, it was just a creative vision, and look at where it is today. So I think there needs to be an element of that, and really I guess it's not the fact that it doesn't exist. It does, but I think we need to put that more on a pedestal in Web3 than we currently do right now. And that's where I think the females come in. I think that's also important because I think for females in Web3, when I got into Web3 as well, it's very, very intimidating to be in a room with these really intelligent, mostly men, that have, all this experience with development and tech and investing and things like that. So as a female going to the space, my first thought was like, wow, can I even do this? This seems hard. I don't think I can contribute. And I think that is a narrative we really need to break by education, because I see many females making big differences to the Web3 companies, but in their own way. It doesn't have to be, the standard path. So I think part of it is educating, and one thing I'm really, really passionate about is showing the younger generation that Web3 is a path for women as well. A lot of my audience from my, YouTuber background are, kids, females, aged between 10 to 20. They're all looking at what we want to do in the future kind of thing, and to have more women in the space and doing great things, it's going to give them encouragement and motivation that could be them as well. And I think we need to see more of those kind of people in the space, which is why I'm so excited to be on this panel. And I'll pass it on to Justine.
I'm actually an NFT consultant of an NFT art platform, and this platform is called One Of. It's founded by 2 women. One of them is a mother. She is super busy, of course. So I always encourage her, picture the vision you want to see in the future, and think of your core value. The core value is like the North Star. When you get lost, it's going to guide you when you face the dilemma. So just think of who are you, who you want to be, and you are not someone's daughter, sister, wife, or mother. How about Jen?
For me, I think the way GameFi, Web3 in general, there's really less women, more so if you go into GameFi. I attended the conference in New York and we had a GameFi get-together, and I was the only woman. And it was about 8-10 projects, and it's so sad because I think Web3 is all about building communities, and it's just women. I don't want to skew on one thing or the other. Both men and women are able to create great communities, but there's an imbalance right now, right, in the GameFi space in particular. So I think what we need, and in terms of help, the second question is, are you advising? So our guild partner programs, I'm really plugging our guild partner program. So our guild partner program, I have bi-weekly meetings for the initial batch. So we tested this year with about 25 guild partners in 25, at that point it was only 10 countries. And we hold bi-weekly meetings with them. And that is a way for me to advise guild owners and guild managers, still predominantly men, but at the same time, it gives them, it plants a seed that women are able to strategize, women are able to, they can throw some ideas and bounce off ideas with them. And then, because if you look at the guild owners, guild managers, most of them are men, but if you go one step down, all of them predominantly are women. So it's just so weird for me that no one is, either maybe it's women really they want to have everything in place before moving on to a different position or moving up the ladder. Men are just like, let's do it. So, and it's also a recognition for these partners that we have. And it was just, I think, refreshing for them that to see someone in the GameFi and someone directing them that, these are the tools that you can do, these are the upcoming games. So it's important for us to not just reach out to women, but at the same time, if there are men as well who are open and more receptive to hearing the opinions and the insights from women, because that will give them an idea that, hey, it's not just, within the boys club. But now we've expanded that even further. So in my team, and the culture that we have at Blockchain Space is, my team is 60% women and then 40% men. And for them, it's a balance. So I have women managers as well, and male managers, and it gives it sets an example for the company in general. So it's also still sad because in our own company, I'm still the only women part of the management. I'm the only woman in the management. So I've been telling them that we need more women in senior positions, so that there's diversity in opinion and diversity in terms of point of view. So and understanding guilds right now, because our assumption, and this is our thesis, is guilds are the onboarding mechanism for any Web3 projects, because they understand the community best. And the problem that we are currently experiencing right now in crypto in general and any Web3 projects, it's still in the confines of our own echo chambers, right? We need to reach out. The way that crypto adoption really blew up in the Philippines was through the guilds, because they can localize the how-to guides. They can teach other traditional gamers or players, or their mother, their father, their brothers and sisters, and their friends. And it's not because of a technology. It's just because, oh, someone is teaching me about crypto. Someone is teaching me about a game. So, and that is something that we have to remind ourselves, that the way to do crypto adoption is, yes, we understand the technology and how it can be revolutionary, but at the same time, what we bring to the table, women in particular, we understand building communities and understanding nuances of consumer psyche. And we're very nurturing also at the same time. So the way you look at it is, you're nurturing communities to break the glass ceiling. So in the Philippines, there's about I can speak, we had about 1 million players for Axie Infinity. So just imagine, those are people, and 80% of them, made a report made by YGG, 80% of them are, that's their first wallet. So these are unbanked and underbanked individuals that we're onboarding not to traditional financial institutions, but through Web3, through crypto. So I think that is something that's keeps me also excited, and that's why we'd like to help more guilds and advise more guild managers.
Excellent. That's great. I'm very excited to hear that all of us here are advising other companies, or are looking for other female advisors to also participate in our initiatives. I myself, I also advise several Web3 startups. To name one of them, as we've all shared some of the ones that we're passionate about, is a Web2. She's a co-founder of a company called Signal XYZ. She has incredible background in her education, is a serial entrepreneur in Web2, and I knew, her technology, her technicity was something that Web3 needed. So I actually spent the last 2 years convincing her and one of her other co-founders to take her knowledge and her technology and bring that into Web3. And I feel, besides just meeting projects that may come up to us, if we actually see someone who's talented, or you think the industry needs, we should encourage them to do something at Web3. And yes, I'm a strong believer, and I've been, for the longest time, in the last 8 years, been trying to encourage more talented people, men or women, to come into Web3. So with this particular company, I just know that this team, with the background and experience, having already sold their last company, Signal XYZ, to one of the founders sold his company to Salesforce, they can do so much, especially in the NFT space. And that's where a lot of us have started projects. Why I felt it was so important that I used my time to actually really encourage them and keep explain to them, even though the market's so volatile, even though NFT goes up and down, and digital assets do that, we actually need more of the infrastructure and application to come and bring this new ideology into how to quantify what we're all doing. What I saw was Tess Venture had invested in during the ICO days, during the initial exchange offering days, where Binance started to underwrite, then into DeFi, and then as gaming and metaverse started to pick up, we learned and invested in leaders in those categories. Then it became GameFi, then DAO toolings, and it's gonna, in layer ones and infrastructure obviously, and a lot of the layer twos and all these deep tech. All of this is needed. The picks and shovels is needed in the industry. But what I saw now, especially with the sentiment of the market, is a way to help bring in the applications and infrastructure to quantify all these amazing metaverse NFT projects that we're bringing. So what she and her team is doing, their vision is to become Google Analytics for Web3 and to have an A+ team. They're 4 PhDs, and they all have Facebook, which is technology background trained and guided engineers to come in and be able to help any of the projects you are part of right now, or have invested in, or are looking to do more and help them. They will be able to do NFT real-time appraisal. So think Sotheby's for appraisal, but for new alternative digital assets, especially NFT. So I'm an investor in Board A in Yuga Labs, and there's those are the what we call the blue chip. Then there's like Sandbox and all these other big projects out there that also are considered like World of Woman, and there's like so many that is up and coming. But how do the average retailer actually pick and choose what NFT to buy, or how to quantify it? But with tools and technology like this, and also being that she is a woman, she's able to, with her background, really understand, how to think through the average user's experience and how to think about this. So that's why I'm very excited, because with this team's, artificial intelligence, machine learning background, they're able to analyze on-chain and off-chain data and derive a fair market value for NFT real time. So they're going to start with, appraising, digital land appraisals and working with, companies in the industry. I myself, have encouraged my own portfolio company to be first to sign up, because I think, any company that can team up and partner up with, companies such as Signal XYZ is able to really shine and be able to have that value that the average consumer can say, it's not just speculative, there's real value, and there's going to be models and frameworks that they can build to teach other metaverse, up and coming projects of how to think through things. And that's very educational. So I think, it's important to just educate the average, retailers about metaverse, about Web3, and about, digital assets and, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And I hope that, these women leaders here and out there can, continue to do that. So with that said, we can also transition into culture building. I think that's very important as well. And I would love to ask each of our panelists to share a little bit more of how you are building the culture in your own company, or how you've seen, other successful companies have done it, especially to encourage more female, contributions and let them feel safe and comfortable in this already volatile and easily everyone judges this industry. And our family, our friends are always saying, are you sure you want to be in this industry? We always have those discussions. So hopefully, we can all, share our tips and how we've been doing it and help each other.
Awesome. So for me, Nine Heroes, one interesting aspect of our company is we're a fully remote team. We don't have an office. Everyone works around the world, different time zones. We conduct everything digitally and online. And we've attracted a lot of talent being based like that, because a lot of people, through the pandemic figured out that they work better at home, they're more comfortable, they don't want to do the commute. So we attracted a lot more talent. One thing that we really believe in as a company as well is to kind of encourage proactiveness. For me, the one thing I really didn't like about working for a lot of larger companies is your creativity is stifled, your proactiveness is stifled, your ideas are stifled. So that's the one thing as a company we truly encourage. Anyone that has an idea, no matter where your position is, hands up, let's give it a chance, let's give it a shot. Because the thing with Web3 is we're so early. Who knows if something's gonna work or not? So it's very important to give every single person a voice. So we have a very flat hierarchy. We're proud to say we're 50 plus people now, and nothing's broken terribly yet, fully remote, so we're doing good. You'd think that that would be a big risk to running such a large team completely remote, but it's done really well. We've had a lot of great platforms in place, such as Slack and various other platforms, Notion, everything like that, to organize people. We've hired, one thing that we did that was really important to building a fully remote team as a game studio, is hire a very talented lead producer. So our lead producer came from Sony and managed 600 people teams. And if you can do that, you can figure it out. So that's something that we really believe in as a culture as well. Hire really well, hire people that are smarter than you. I'm really proud to say that a lot of my leadership team are way more experienced than me, especially in the game studio industry, and really know your strengths and weaknesses. I think being in a leadership position, I think women might have an easier time doing this. I'm not 100% sure because I can only speak for myself, but I think I'm more willing to admit my vulnerabilities where I don't know anything, especially in a space that I have no experience in, and just really focusing on my strengths and hiring really talented people. Our game studio come from studios that have shipped multiple AAA titles such as Marvel Avengers, Apex Legends, Destiny, Assassin's Creed. So they've done this. They've done this so many times, and I think what really attracted them to Web3, a lot of our recruitment process actually was even evangelizing Web3, telling Web2 people why Web3 is going to be really great in the future, why the tech makes sense, why this industry is up and coming and you need to be part of it. A lot of our recruitment initiatives was leading that kind of charge. And I think the better you are at simplifying it, the more effective it will be. So I think what we were really good at, because we didn't come from truly Web3 backgrounds, we had to learn. We also knew how to explain it and communicate it in a way that someone that isn't involved in Web3 can be like, oh, I get it now. I think that's where we need to move to as well, to create culture. It's not to make it so intimidating that you have to know about Web3. A lot of our people, we train into Web3, but they have killed it in Web2. And they know exactly how to build a good product, build a good game title, do all that. But then putting in that component of, this is what Web3 is. Our job as leaders is to update them on the space, educate them in the space, get them involved in the space, get them their first wallets, get them involved with the NFT, and really training them. And we found that they've been really thankful to us as well to introduce them to a space that is just so hard to understand, especially when they have a full-time job in a game studio prior to coming to us. They don't have time to really sit there and degen, 24 hours a day, which is kind of what you have to do to really learn about that space yourself. So that's the kind of culture, creative, flat structure. We really encourage everyone to give ideas, and we really give them a go. And yeah, we hire a lot from Web2, people that are interested in Web3. So we're hiring aggressively still. If you're part of a game studio in the gaming space, hit me up. I have a LinkedIn profile as well. It says hiring on it. Look out Wengie Kwong and let me know. And we can provide a space for you. And we really just want people that are just passionate about the project and making a difference in Web3. Nyan Heroes, what we want to do, we have a tagline. It's we're what's good in Web3. We don't want to be a spam project. We don't want to be a rug pull. We don't want to contribute to the fear headlines and the FUD. We want to prove that you can build a really great Web3 company and do good at the same time. So we really want to bridge that gap. what we want to do as a title for Nine Heroes, or Nyan Heroes, since we're in Japan, Nyan Heroes, we want to be relatable, you know, we want to have the gamer come into our game, not make it feel like a Web3 game, you know, we coined the term, you know, we're a play and earn company. Play first, earn later, and not just like an earned company. So the gaming part is very important to us. So the user experience is going to be exactly like a Web2 game, but we're stacking in the Web3 technology, so when you're comfortable, we can be like, hey, this is a wallet. It's here, where we're holding it for you. If you want to access it, we'll have tutorials that will explain very easily how to access it, what it does, and what it is. But I think the very important part of Web3 gaming, and why I think it's the future, is we're creating a game for, you know, the players. It's built for the players, and the players own it. And I think that's the really, really deciding factor of Web3 gaming. I was part of media for YouTube, which is decentralizing media. Before media was run by big corporations, before people in my bed, like me in my bedroom, came and disrupted it. Gaming as well, it's like, you know, studios now own the space and it makes so much revenue from players, but one day the players are gonna own it and they're gonna be contributing to the title. So that's why I'm really, really bullish on Web3 gaming and the difference we can make. And in addition, the other culture we really want to promote is to do good. So a big part about our game is we want to save 1 billion cats using Web3. So we love cats. I'm a crazy cat lady. My cats have 800,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you want to watch some cat content, they're called Munchkin. They're super cute. They do challenges all the time. And that's why cats is center stage in our title. It's a cyberpunk, you know, post-apocalyptic world where you have a little cat that sits in a robot. I was inspired by Evangelion, the very organic-looking robots. Evangelion is one of my favorite animes that I grew up with, and I was like, instead of children piloting, why don't we have like little cats piloting it? And that's where the idea kind of came from. And you know, we want to save 1 billion cats. So when our first NFT dropped, we donated $250,000 to the Best Friends Society, which is an animal shelter in LA, to start the process of, you know, adopting and saving 1 billion cats. And we always encourage our community, think about the cats, think about the animals. And recently we did a really cool bunch of auctions with other projects, big projects on Solana, such as Degen Apes and Catalina Whales, Barocco Dragons, and we did 101 NFTs that raise money for different charities. So we donated to a gorilla sanctuary, we donated to like children's education, and I think that's a really important part of Web3, to get the mainstream to really look at it as a good place, and not a place full of scams and losing money and people, you know, being dodgy and things like that. So I think we need to do more of that and just do good in Web3. That's what our culture is about.
Speaking of our company culture, there's always 3 things I want to highlight in my company. The first one is empathy. It helps me to think from a different angles. We're not a working machine, and empathy and care are what make us human. And the second thing is honesty. Face your own strength and weakness, and no one is good at everything. So the more you know what you are and what you can do, the better you can plan your strategy, and the closer to achieve your goals. And the third thing is trustworthiness. As mentioned before, no one is good at everything, and no one has the bandwidth to do everything. So sometimes you've got to trust your team and be the reliable one to let them rely on you as well. So trust goes in both ways. Thanks.
So in terms, it's very I think most of the Web3 companies are work from home, right? So everything's virtual. So from a culture standpoint, it's hard to create a culture where everyone's, you know, scattered across the world. But what we're trying to do, and it's easy to get trapped with, you know, motherhood statements. Oh, diversity. Oh, empower people to speak their minds. But in practice, so I can give like specific examples in terms of what we do, because the way we see, and even from the management blockchain space, what we do is we ask everyone to, in every department meeting, so in my own department, I ask everyone to speak up, because there are even not just women, but there are some people as well that they have great ideas, but they're not, encouraged to speak because they are drowned by the loudest person in the room or the loudest voice in the room. So for us, we try to give, and we're not perfect, but we try to give everyone a chance to speak, especially in these department meetings, because it's difficult to create that bonding without you seeing these people in person. So what we're doing now, because you're now back to, you can visit other countries, that's why we're here, we try to invite our own team in that particular region. So our team is dispersed in about 4 countries right now, predominantly still in the Philippines. And we had like every quarter at least like in-person meetup, and that's one. Second is basically just reminding ourselves that you have to have that regular discussion with your own team members, because all of us are just in front of the screen and it's hard to share experiences. So those, in terms of creating culture, you need to have long hours with each other, you need to go through difficult times with each other, because that creates that bond. And it's also moral signaling, right? We work really hard, especially the space is really new, so you really have to clock in long hours. But at the same time, we have that shared passion. So if there's one thing that we're good at, is to fill the culture that we have right now, is to get people who share the same passion, because it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not a 9 to 5. Unfortunately, it's not a 9 to 5 job. Sometimes you have to work. That's just sharing what we've experienced in the space. You have to clock in like long hours, but at the end of the day, you're helping that one scholar down in the rural area in the Philippines or Indonesia, Thailand, make a living, or learn and expand their opportunity, expand their boundaries. So that's what we communicate to the team, and that translates into a culture that, yes, there might be sometimes that it's really going to be tough, but at the end of the day, we need to remind ourselves that what we want is social mobility. Social mobility for to those who are in developing countries, and giving them opportunity to expand their horizon and break that glass ceiling. And I think that's a way for us to filter people, and at the same time keep the team motivated and hardworking. So yeah.
Thank you. And I myself, at Tess Ventures, because I started off as a founder building startups, I've always definitely hired females. And moving forward as I grew into more investing and focusing on investing, I have definitely seeked far and wide and asked many friends who have invested into female founders to also introduce to me. And myself, I would like to say, I'm proud to say, Tess Venture probably has invested in over 20 female founders. And we also, intern with females that want to break into startup or into venture capital. Actually, the last 4 interns have been female, because obviously venture capital is also mainly a male-dominated industry. So I wanted to tell them that they can and they should, and hope that besides being in venture capital, they can then transition into being in an operator role, being a founder, so they get to see both sides of the table. And I also seek, when I invest, to also bring in other co-investors that are also female, and advisors. And a nice balance, because I think male and female bring different skill sets and views to the table. Further, we mentor, and we also help encourage females to start companies or move into Web3 space. So it's been pretty exciting, and we here I say we've just been very active, all of us here, as you can see, of helping women leaders or budding entrepreneurs or rising stars, whether they want to be a founder or get into the startup space or just be part of the startup space. And I think we can say we leave some time, a few minutes, to see if anyone has any questions. And if not, we can continue sharing our insights. Feel free to raise your hands if you have any questions.
I have a question. What are you excited about as an investor, in the space going forward? What's got you at Tess Ventures excited about opportunities now?
Thank you. So the question was, what are we at Tess Venture excited about moving forward? And we think about this a lot, especially overlaying with what's happening as you read in the media. And as we all know, what we read in the media is not necessarily all true. It's mainly, reporters and publishers that want to report the most, information that can sell. So reality is, there's a lot of amazing things that's happening in Web3. So myself and my team, we definitely are excited in educational in Web3. And obviously today I also got to talk and chat with some amazing female founders who are doing that. And also in gaming, because my own friends that have come into gaming and esports, because they have come into positions of leadership roles for their countries that are also looking to regulate this. So that is an area that also we're looking at. And I think artificial intelligence and machine learning, because there's so much data now. It's still a very young industry, but there will be even more data in the Web3 space. So anything that has that type of application, and infrastructure applications, the picks and shovels that's going to help glue this industry together. Because right now, many people are building and starting companies in different areas, but mainstream has not been easily able to adopt this. So the gateway, and I do think educational, right? Learn to earn, all these areas are areas that we've been studying and have a thesis around, and that's the social layer. So it also has allowed the ability for entrepreneurs to really start something, because you don't necessarily need a deep technical background, and that's the beauty of Web3. It really democratizes and allow for many people to get involved, to join a team like this or start or do angel investing or some institutional investing. And in case anyone else has anything to share of what you see as interesting moving forward.
Yeah, for me, I just think the interesting part, as Tess mentioned, is really having Web 2 kind of meld into Web 3. I really think the gateway is the key. It's like when, your 12-year-old, if you have a daughter is now playing a Web 3 game, you've done it. And I think part of that is education. It's being able to take away all the ways we talk about Web3 that is hard for normal people to understand and kind of make it more approachable. So what I love to say in terms of gaming and why I believe gaming is the future of Web3, and it's, I think, the gateway kind of companies that will really bring the masses into Web3. I usually, speak to a parent or something because, I have a lot of audience that are kids. I ask a parent, I'm like, how much have you spent on Roblox or Fortnite for your kid, right? Usually it's like in the thousands of dollars. And I think the normal thing for a kid is they'll get bored of it after a year or 2 years. And I'm like, okay, when your kid moves on to the next game, what happens to your money? And they're like, well, we lost it all. Fortnite keeps it. There's no way for them to do it. Well, I'm like, what if all that thousands of dollars you spent on the game is now maybe even worth more because the game is popular, and you can now sell it and get your money back and fund your kid's next, gaming interest. And then all the parents was like, yes, that's exactly what I want. And if you say it simply like that, everyone should be behind Web3, but I think that the issue is the education. We use all these words that people don't understand. We say all these things that seem so far away and not, part of your life, but Web3 is part of your life, and it's just about us leaders and people in Web3 changing the way we speak to other people. I think, early on with any industry, it's very cool to like know the culture and the in-speak, and you feel like you have your own little group, and you know, you just connect through that. But I think if we want Web3 to really, you know, be the next thing, we have to step back and be like, okay, how do we say this to, you know, this person that knows nothing about technology? Like, how do we explain it? How do we make them excited about it? I think that's kind of what I'm excited, like education, speaking to people outside of Web3, especially in the gaming space, because I think it's the easiest way to adopt Web3. So, yeah.
What I absolutely agree with what Wengie said. I also, you know, challenge all of us to not just go to blockchain conferences where we sometimes see the same people, our friends, speak at non-blockchain companies and try to share this. I did this at a industry panel that they invited me to speak about Web3 kind of metaverse, and the whole panel was about those when companies, you know, shut down and they have to do the bankruptcy part. And you know, it was interesting because, you know, these are always the finance guys. And on that panel, I chose to give the positive view of Web3, and they're like, why is she so positive? We're here to, like, you know, take care of these companies that's going to go down. And you know, that's what the whole panel was. But I said, I just want all of you to know, everyone should, you know, diversify a bit into crypto assets and really understanding blockchain. So you know, I really believe that all of us should do, and you know, what we're trying to do is talk to those who are not ready in the industry to get more into, you know, more of us, more of the others that can benefit from this, to be part of, you know, Web3.
How welcoming have men been in Web3 in comparison to Web2?
I think Web3 are men are more welcoming than Web2, because in general, crypto communities are just, oh, there's a new person joining the space, let's welcome whoever that is. So it's not just specific to women, but even other people who are from other industries, they're more welcoming. So it's better, but we're not in a ideal state. But the community, Web3 communities are much more welcoming for those who are entering. And that's based on my personal experience. I don't know if others had a different.
Yeah, I would agree with you. When I was entering the Play to Earn space last year in August, just backstory on that, I was doing a marketing strategy for my friend that founded Avocado Guild. And part of that was doing a deep dive research, because I didn't know what Play to Earn was. I was like, what is Play to Earn? Okay, let's do it. So I ended up, you know, I think access was really, really high, because accessing Web2, men in Web2 and people, founders in Web2 is very hard now. Like, what do? You message them on LinkedIn, you try and bump into them in the conference. Like, well, how do you do it? But for when I was getting to Play to Earn, I literally just went on Discord, and then they were like, okay, let's hop on a call, like right now on Discord. So like, we just do a voice call. And they pretty much just said, like, this is how I do my scholarship, this is how I build my guild, this is how we do it, do you want help? Here's a free NFT. And I was like, wow, this is different. And we're doing it on Discord, and I'm not trying to like posture, or, you know, everyone was very welcoming and friendly. I don't know where it is now. I think as any industry gets bigger, it gets harder and harder. But in the grassroots and everything, like, so many founders were just like, let's hop on a Discord call. You didn't even have to know who you were. You didn't have to have video on. Like, that's what I loved about the culture of Web3. You didn't even know who it needed to be. You didn't know you didn't have to know like what their experience was to take someone seriously. Everyone was just an avatar and a profile, and this is what I'm doing. So I thought it was much more relatable and approachable. In fact, my first developer that I hired, I literally just went on Twitter. I was like, oh, I'm looking for a Solidity developer. And literally one of the first 5 people that DM'd me, I was like, oh, you're hired. I didn't even know what he looked like. I didn't know his name. But I just knew he could develop Solidity, and I was like, that's good enough for me, okay. And that's how the project started. So, you know, I think, you know, again, I was very welcoming to anyone that needs to find out anything. Like, I'm here, jump on a Discord call if I don't have to put on makeup and do my hair. I am very excited to do that.
And no, thank you. I think we have to end in 10 seconds, but to add on to that, I absolutely echo what they say, and it's incredible. I mean, in Web3, you're not judged. You can have any background, you can be of any age, and it's okay. You're not gonna be first judged by your resume. And it doesn't matter where you start, it's where you end. So this is why I am so excited, by this, potential of what's happening in Web3. And I hope all of you guys will sense that and, can continue, giving us feedback and doing your part to make it, even more amazing. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.